Hey everybody, Shane Presley of Rock Paper Podcast. Thank you so much for checking out another brand new episode. Today's feature is my buddy Kevin of Obviously Offbeat. Kevin returns to the show to talk about his new project, his Infinite Will album that he put out, and you can find now available wherever you get your digital music at. But we're going to dive into a couple songs, give you a little sneak peek today, and tell you some of the stories behind the record. So, we had a lot of fun recording this. Hope you enjoy it. Do want to remind you, as always, Rock Paper Podcast is brought to you by Roughneck Beard Company and American Rambler, located here in St. Louis, Missouri, over in the Maplewood area off Manchester. Stop by and pick up some of your favorite all-natural beard oils, beard balms, your junk powder, beard batter, whatever you need. You can find it all there. Or you can shop 24/7 at roughneckbeardcompany.com and use my code RPP15 for an exclusive 15% off your purchase. You know, during the hot summer months, it may be tempting to shave, but did you know that having a beard can keep you cooler in the summer heat? Beards provide protection from UV rays and keep sweat off your face so you can keep cooler longer in the hottest heat. Just make sure to keep your beard clean with Roughneck's house-made beard bar, all-natural soap with milled oats and African black soap. Cleanses amazingly without stripping away your natural oils. And if you do decide to shave it off, do it with American Rambler's amazing pre-shave oils and Miracle Tonic aftershave. Either way, they've got you covered. Also, very excited to announce a brand new show sponsor for you guys. Check out KBP Studios, my buddy Keith Brake. Keith has been working hard around St. Louis area for many years, doing live concert photography, and recently opened his own studio, KBP Studios. You can find more information at keithbrakephotography.com and see some of the wonderful shots of he's had many of my friends in the studio recently, including Steve Ewing of The Urge, Learn of Keishi, and ATG from Discrepancies. So check all those out. Right now, he's currently offering 10% off all sessions during this promo period if you mention Rock Paper Podcast. So if you're in need of some photos, check out Keith Brake Photography today at keithbrakephotography.com. Also, find him on socials on Facebook and Instagram. So if you haven't heard the news, I got a big old show happening August 21st at the Focal Point, reviving my singer-songwriter storytelling showcase. Bringing along Andy Sitto, Nick Gussman, Karen Choi, and Anthony J. Russo. It'd be 4 writers in a intimate listening room setting at the Focal Point in Maplewood. 7 o'clock start. $11 tickets in advance, $16 at the door. And it's going to be an incredible evening. I would love to see you all there. Find more information and tickets at thefocalpoint.org or rockpaperpodcast.com. With all that out of the way, sit back, relax, and enjoy this brand new episode with Obviously Offbeat.
Podcast is kind of like it's like a radio show that's not on the radio. It's on the internet. Does that make sense? Uh-huh. Yeah. That's also like my mom. It makes it sound more confusing, doesn't it? It sounds like this.
This is Kevin Kaler from Obviously Offbeat, and you're listening to Rock Paper Podcast.
Rock Paper Podcast.
Scissors beat paper, paper covers rock. Rock beats scissors, Shane covers non-stop. Never know what new kind of guest that he's got coming at you. Live and direct on the spot. Could be rock, folk, country, or hip-hop, jazz. All kind of folks that he has. Could be an artist or a comedian to make you laugh on the
Rock Paper Podcast.
double-decker fudge round, rolling round town. Shane coming at you live and direct from ground zero. He's your hero, he's your bestie. Rock Paper Podcast with Shane Presley.
Rock Paper Podcast.
Hey everybody, Shane Presley here, Rock Paper Podcast, coming to you from St. Louis, Missouri. Hanging out today with returning guest, Kevin Kaler of Obviously Offbeat. Welcome back to the show, man.
Thank you, Shane. It's great to see you.
After
all this time, it's great to be on the show.
Yeah, it's been way too long, man. I think it was 16 or something was the last time we maybe did one of these or somewhere in there.
Talking about the Missouri Prairie Festival.
Yeah, and of course we've done an Elphonics episode together also, and
absolutely,
which you're also a member of. So, but this is what's fun about this is you have a brand new solo project, Obviously Offbeat. We have a brand new album that you just had a big release party for, and all this stuff. So,
yes, it's been wonderful.
Yeah, and you said it's 6 years since your last record or something like that?
Yeah. The first record came out in 2015, and that was kind of a compilation almost of all the recorded ideas and just experiments, really, from 2010 to 2015, because I had a bunch of ideas for songs and fragments, and also kind of showcasing my engineering abilities, but that first album is really more of, it's called Sound Sketches for a reason, because it's not really not all the songs are a finished product, and but on this album, my second album, very proud to say that the engineering skills are way more honed in. It's got a cohesive sound across the whole thing because it was all recorded cohesively, all at my home studio, Lucy Sound Lab, and I played all the instruments as well, and just really did it in a systematic way that allowed it to be to have that cohesive sound, which all great music and great albums are known for having that cohesive sound.
Right. So. Yeah, man. Well, and the record is titled Infinite Will.
Yes,
and,
indeed.
Do we have it? We have physicals available, right?
Yeah, I pressed it on CD, and I'm a huge advocate for compact discs, and
right.
I mean, that technology is so good, and there's still, they tried a bunch of other digital improvements, which none of which caught on. So we still have the CD, and it still does everything we need it to. Because if you go any higher quality than that, our ears don't even perceive those kinds of differences. But, I'm a CD era person.
Oh, yeah.
Grew up in the 90s, and, so my CD collection is pretty darn good, and I wasn't ready to go ahead and give it up. And
sure.
So I keep the CDs around, and, I make music for CD. When I got the CDs in and put it in my player, I was like, yeah, this sounds like a CD, it sounds like a CD should, and MP3 and streaming will never do that. Well, I don't want to say never, because actually Apple Music and I think Amazon now are doing lossless audio streaming. So a little side tangent here to any engineering folks listening is that you never want to settle for the way that people are listening to it now in your recordings. You don't want to be oh, well, people are just going to stream this anyway, so no need for me to
sure.
mic it correctly. You should always be recording in the highest fidelity possible, so that when there is that new technology that can accept that higher bit rate or whatever, then you'll have the master recordings ready, and it'll sound incredible for whoever gets to play that in the future, So yeah, that's one thing I'm passionate about, among many other things, is audio quality and not settling for the status quo of MP3s. And we could go into some of the physiological elements of sound, but maybe this isn't quite the time, and I'm not quite knowledgeable quite yet to do all that. So
but you have a point, though. I've been trying to be aware of that myself, even doing this on my show on my own. I've been trying to be aware of where I am recording and everything, trying to put out the best quality product, because if it doesn't sound good, people aren't going to listen. So it's that's as simple as that. And people are going to quickly tune out if it's not the right quality. And so
I feel for the podcast world, and it's something I'm relatively new to knowing more about, but it's got to be a really niche conversation for you to listen if the quality is going to be
Right.
bad. Like you got to really want to know about what they're talking about to like go through the low quality recording.
And some of it was fun at first when we first got going. We didn't really know anything about what we were doing. We were just having fun with
Punk
buddies.
rock.
Yeah, and so we did I remember one we recorded in a mall food court.
Oh my gosh.
And
I hear it now. It just sounds terrible.
Right, and I bring up that story only because it was not the best recording atmosphere by any means, but we brought along our friend Bobby J. Cox, met us there, and Bobby's a comedian, and so having that live element to it allowed him to shine because he was able to improv and made some really funny moments on there that come to life. Like there's this part where there was we were sitting there and I guess this cleaning crew came in and started moving chairs around, so it sounds like these just loud screeching sounds, and this is when it's 6 years ago when Jurassic World was coming out, so
yeah.
he said we were on a set of Jurassic World and and it sounds like dinosaurs, so it was
Velociraptors just screaming.
All right, so it was just so anyway, it was a lot of fun. I'm crying, laughing so hard. I'm like, this is going to be the worst sounding thing ever, but it ultimately sounded pretty decent for what it was. But,
absolutely.
But so some of that stuff, it can be fun, but when you can record at a much higher quality, please do so because it goes so much farther. So
exactly. But at the same time, though, I love that DIY aspect, and there's magic in that, and it's a fine line to be able to, put yourself forward as a, someone who has high standards for quality, but also be able to know when that certain artist doesn't require all that. Maybe it's time to just set up that 4-track again and get a really grimy sound. And I'm really into that. And, live performance, I think, is the thing that ties it all back together, is that it's not just making sure your mics are set right, but it's making sure the songs are played right. A lot of bands take away the live element and multi-track stuff is separating everything when that band maybe should have just recorded all live in the room, and even if there's bleed through the mics and the mix can't be perfect, the feel was there.
All right.
So that's to me that beats everything. And I know that I'm just sounding like I'm contradicting myself left and right, because if you listen to the album or know about the album, well, if you don't, I'm just going to tell you right now, it's something that I played all the instruments on. So there is not that live band dynamic, which is so awesome in a lot of the best recordings of all time. But I feel like I was able to recreate something live because I did play the songs all the way through. So there's that performance aspect where it's a full take. It's not just me looping something and just layering and layering. I tried to keep the instrumentation pretty bare, actually, compared to my the Sound Sketches album was who knows what colors are gonna look good on the wall. I'm just gonna put them all up and just see afterwards. but this time I kept it to just guitars, bass, drums, and vibraphone. Plus, of course, the vocals. But, the vibraphone was the only other splash of color that I felt was necessary. I'm always wanting to experiment with keyboards and stuff like that. But the vibraphone ended up doing everything I needed it to. And it's actually quite amazing how that all worked out. And it's almost like it was meant to be on this album, because there's a lot of stuff in the past that has come out, music that's incorporated elements of, mallet instruments. There's some Queens of the Stone Age songs, which, we'll talk about them a little bit more here in a second, but they have vibraphones and certain bell-like instruments mixed in the background of even some of their heaviest sections. There's a song, or the album, that Josh Homme from Queens of the Stone Age produced for Iggy Pop. which actually features a lot of marimba and vibraphone on it. And I've always been that kind of fan, and even love stuff like Belle and Sebastian, which has this very soft sound to it, but it has all these different instruments, and a lot of them are these nice bell-like timbres. So I've always been a big fan of Belle's, and it just fit in. Like, actually, one of my favorite songs on the album is "Well, If You Don't Need Me," and I almost threw that song out until I started experimenting with vibraphone. So as soon as I came up with that vibraphone on that song, the whole song came together, and I took it out of I took the song out of the trash can and put it back on the album, because like, whoa, I almost lost out on this amazing song. But it's because my buddy Jackson Hamill from the group Mother Meat, he owns a lot of instruments, like dozens and dozens, like probably over 100 instruments if you include all the percussion instruments that he has. So I was able to go over to his place and just overdub whatever vibraphone. You know, the vibraphone is an expensive instrument, so it's not something that everyone just has access to. I'm really lucky to have had that access and had that extra, color on my wheel to splash in. And that's the thing that really made it sound cohesive and tied the whole album together, I think, more than anything else. Yeah,
man. Well, let's talk about that track. This, if I feel like, and you said you are working on a new music video for this one also.
Yes, indeed.
But this, I don't know. I mean, I guess it could be a lot of different things, but I kind of interpret it maybe kind of more of the breakup song almost, or something, or just cutting somebody out. Like, not necessarily, it doesn't necessarily even have to be a relationship, romantic relationship, but just somebody that's negative in your life that a relationship that went sour there and stuff. That
it's also the focus on valuing yourself, right, too. Like, at first being like, oh, I need you so bad, but then being like, you know what, actually I don't need you. Right. I got everything I need right now. And really, if you don't, it's like that famous quote about love. It's like, you can't love somebody who doesn't love you back or something. It's like, if it doesn't go both ways, then it's not really love, right, or whatever. So the same thing here is like, if you don't need me, then look, I'm over you. I don't need you.
Yeah.
I thought our love was true. I tried to make it better, but it did no use. I could never get through to you. Dark nights I slumber through, another holiday season without you. Well, it looks like you don't need me, and I don't know what to do.
I love that song. I think it's my favorite. I think it's the best song on the album because it just came together in such a different way than all the other ones.
Sure.
And it really takes you on a journey in a short amount of time.
That's one thing I noticed for sure too. Is like the kind of the way it builds towards the end. It gets a lot heavier and stuff. Like I think before we started recording, you kind of mentioned some of that 90s grunge influences, and I feel like that kind of comes through as you kind of start even like your vocals even getting louder and kind of screaming and stuff. And so it was fun to kind of hear and that's also what kind of makes me think. I mean, again, it's an empowerment song, but also like a kind of a break, like a little bit of that frustration coming out and stuff, and that kind of feeling too. So it was cool, man. I really liked this track a lot too.
Thank you. It was a good one. I mean, just to also have some help from a buddy of mine, Alex Stewart. He was helping for me to record vocals, and he told me when he heard this one particular lyric that he loved it. I mean, it really helped me know that the song was worth moving forward with. Like I think the lyric that he resonated with was, "I thought I'd lost my mind, but I had only lost you." Mm-hmm. Because in all kinds of relationships, people have a tendency to fuck with each other's minds.
Yeah,
and so it's like, no, like that's just a game they were playing. Whatever the mind thing that you're not sure about, it's like you didn't lose your mind. Like you were a person before you met that person, and you just lost that person, and obviously that person wasn't good for you, and you just have to find a new way to be healthy and happy. And that's why the song changes keys. It starts in the key of G, and then that's where it's kind of sad and uncertain. But then when it goes to the A, goes up to A, then it's all kind of breezy and like, life is good again, because that's over. I'm over it,
Yeah, man. Well, you like I said, maybe a new music video on the way. We're hopefully early August releasing that. And
yes, indeed. It's in the same vein as the Save My Love video, because I'm just wanting to show folks, not just tell folks that I played all the instruments on the album. I want to show people like, this is how I actually did this. So it's in that same vein, but we take it a step further. Of course, the new song having more background vocals, so I include more of that aspect, and all the different characters have different backing vocals, like popping in, and
you got somebody helping you with that, or?
That's Odd Soul Sight and Sound, aka Mr. Matt Close.
Yeah.
So he's been around the scene quite some time. I actually went to college with him. We both were in the jazz program.
Okay.
And then I ran into him at Foam in 2011 or 12 when I started going to open mics at Foam. And he's kind of just moved into a more multimedia kind of production world, which is great. I mean, I think he's doing awesome with his photos and,
I agree.
and videos recently. So it was the perfect time. Like I knew that I had to invest in the promotion of this album. Like Sound Sketches did not have any videos. There's a couple of songs that I still think would be good enough, but I just never. I probably just didn't straight up have the money for it, and that's kind of like where this whole music thing can just stop. If there's no money, there's nothing you can do. And it wasn't my main focus either. The Ilphonics has been my main focus over the years.
Right.
So this was just, the first album was like, I just had to get this off my chest. I've been working on it a long time. Let's just get it out. That's all I really cared about, like setting a foundation for my career and to, be clear. Like these were recorded between a 5-year period, and don't judge me off of each song singularly. Like try to take it as a whole. Mm-hmm. And then, I don't know, I kind of got off on a tangent there.
Was a lot of, as going into Infinite Will, was a lot of this though, you were saying, like, did you find that you were able to create this record more like during the pandemic and stuff, having more time to where Ilphonics wasn't as busy, and you were able to focus on a more of a solo project? Or
Right, yeah. I mean, really, it's looking at the pandemic as having silver linings, plural, because what you cannot just think of the bad aspects of a situation. Like, if you only do that, you're not going to get anywhere with anything. So you have to at least think and aspire for the greater possibilities. And with the large amount of time that I had that previously was not available, I thought the greatest way to move forward and kind of like invest in my future was to record a new album, and again to focus on the recording quality and make sure it's a good statement of what I can do for other artists as well. I'm happy to collaborate. Like, I'm just have a lot of hope for the future and really excited about working with artists that I've always wanted to work with. And really the pandemic gave me a chance to say, what's really important in your life. Everybody had this moment probably. But what do you actually want to spend time on? And given the limitations of what you could do with your time, it was absolutely finalizing these, I had 10 to 12 songs to start with. And then I, chopped a few away. I'd say the song Noel is the kind of song that triggered the entire album idea, because that song is so simple. Like, when I finally finished I always overthink things. I'll just start with that. So with songwriting, I'm just oh, well, this note is half step off from what it should be. I'm thinking about really maybe not so important things. And sometimes it's about the simplicity of the melody that is all that matters. So, and that's something that my bandmates in Ilphonics will definitely call me out on. And over the years, I've learned, it's what resonates with people is they're not going to care if you played that major 7 in the chord or not. It's about having a strong melody or a rhythm that connects with folks. So Noel was, again, that song has a catchy melody. It's about a woman. The title of the song is the name of a woman. And I'm just singing her praises and just in a real breezy, there's 3 chords in that song. And I was oh, well, this song is easy enough. I could probably play drums to this. So I had always played drums, back when I started bands, just in the basement or whatever, after practice, after we finished whatever band I was in. Of course, I had experience just having fun on the drums, but I never got serious about it until the pandemic, which is, again, I took time aside to focus on the drums and piano and getting the parts right, and ultimately putting it all together for an album.
Noel,
any idea where to start with something like that. Like I like to be, especially like the fact that to play multiple instrument and like to do all this stuff, recording it, producing it, engineering the record, all this different thing. Like it just blows my mind to think about, because like I can't hardly do any of that. Like I don't play any instrument, and you're playing 4 or 5 on and stuff and these different things. So it's and singing on it. So it's like it's really impressive, man. So
thank you. I mean, it's something I've always strived for ever since I got passionate about music, because I always talk about Trent Reznor as a big inspiration for what I do, and knowing that he was classically trained on piano, but he was on stage just absolutely abusing guitars,
right.
So you can tell guitar wasn't his first instrument, but the same idea of like how Nine Inch Nails started as like it's just one guy in a studio and he's programming all the drum machines and synthesizers and engineering all of it himself, and that just was a great story for me to be like, he started that from pure work ethic of being an intern in a studio in Cleveland, I think it was, and after the sessions that were, the paid sessions in the studio with a different producer or engineer, he would be there all night in the studio learning the stuff and just figuring it all out. And, the difference with me and him is just that I was lucky enough, or, fortunate enough to have education in audio. So it kind of probably filled in all the gaps of like theoretical knowledge or whatever that maybe Trent Reznor had to fill in, way later in his career. He knew how to use the studio for what he needed, but I'm sure there were things that like, his first album he didn't understand fully, and same thing with myself, But having the theoretical knowledge allowed me to, I guess, build on that foundation a little more and just have a stronger sense of it all. And just being into it. I
was listening to a Stern show the other day, and he had Dave Grohl called in, and they were talking, and I think I forget what track it was they were playing, but coming out of the commercial break, I think Fred played a Nine Inch Nails tune.
Nice.
And they so Dave and Howard, all of them could hear it. It's playing on the music playing and stuff. And then as they came back in, and Howard said something, he goes about that something about whatever song it was now, and so since he had Dave on the phone, he goes, Dave, he's like, do you know if that was that he goes, I just love those drums on that. He's like, is that programmed drums or is that live? He goes, no, that's all programmed stuff, and he goes, yeah, but he's like, it sounds good though. And anyway, so him and so Dave goes, I got a funny story for you about Trent Reznor. And he goes, he said it was like 92, I think, or something, that he was with Nirvana, and they were on a break or something at the time. They had a couple of weeks off, and and he said they used to he was like just crashing at friends' houses and jumping. They would in California, and they would just like go from like pool to pool kind of thing in the summer, and like kind of. So one of these days he winds up at this house with this pool, and he said it was this mansion like where there was like the these murders, the
Tate murders.
The Manson exactly. family and stuff. I forget the woman's name, but
Sharon Tate.
Yeah, Sharon Tate. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, and so they're just like hanging out. They're swimming at the pool, and then he ends up bumping into Trent Reznor is there recording the record, and so he was talking about and how of course all that was like kind of captured on that record, like all these weird kind of ominous tones and different things, like a lot of strange things happened. And I was just like, man, I can't imagine like that would be a really kind of a weird thing. But I mean, that's the type of music Trent was making. He had to, I imagine he probably had to kind of put himself in that headspace to where he was able to record something like that. And
I almost feel like it's a part of his whole marketing plan.
Yeah.
You know, it's like that's all the magazines are going to write about this, and then it's going to create this, you know, image of me in this kind of way that he wanted to craft. I think, and part of it is that he probably had some connection or like some curiosity as to what recording in the house might bring. You know, but I don't know if he's, you know, that much on the mystical aspect, more just so like on paper this sounds really badass.
I agree. I mean, I think it's a complete thing though. I do think like it's one. I mean, we're still talking about it today. It's cool, it's still a cool story, but at the same sense, like I do
tragic story.
Yeah, well, yeah, sure, but I do feel like I mean, there is something that happens. You know, just a natural energy of any room or recording studio and stuff like. You know, even locally, we have some great studios, and it's just like when you walk into some place and you just feel naturally like relaxed. It's a comfortable, you know, space, and you know you can create something. But you know, for him, like having something like that where it's like kind of scares the shit out of you, like you're probably gonna make some, you know, spooky kind of music and stuff too.
Definitely, yeah. That's a spooky album, The Downward Spiral.
Yeah, man. So. But anyway, I just thought it was a fun story to hear Dave talking about that. And also just kind of crazy to imagine those two guys in the same room in the early 90s and just, you know, and like still...
I love all the connections between all those groups. Like it's... Because when, you know, Dave Grohl plays drums on a Nine Inch Nails record or a Queens of the Stone Age record, it's like, oh, well, these guys, they're like tight with each other. It's not that hard to see like where... almost like a rock and roll lineage. Like, I feel like that group is the last of like the real rock stars, you know, like, and they're aging on us, and just that idea of what a rock star is in America or in the world or whatever is not even really truly possible in that same sense anymore, just because all the record companies are not taking chances on folks, and there's so many reasons, but I mean, there was a certain era of rock that up to a certain point just didn't continue. And I feel like Queens of the Stone Age and like White Stripes are like a couple of the last bands that you can say like really rock. And I know that's like a somewhat controversial opinion because there's some exceptions certainly. But again, I like to play these funny games where it's like, they really are meant to just spark conversation.
Sure.
And so, you know, one of those is about like who's real rock and roll, and that's, I'm kind of thinking in that same like rock star sense, because like, you know, a band like Mini Mansions, like they're a great rock band, but they don't have this like colossal like vibe about them, and also there's something to be said for that whole like aspect of marketing and corporate like structure around creating rock stars, because ultimately I don't even think that was really good for music, really, because like at this point you either got to be huge or just it doesn't, you know, I don't know. There's a lot about the music business that don't make much sense, so I'm just going to stop there.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned kind of coming from the you know, the 90s, the cassette or CD era, and we do have Infinite Will on physical CD format, which features some great photography, some great pictures of some of your travels, right?
Yes, indeed. Yeah, thanks for bringing that up.
That's what I think is great about that format too, is the fact that you do, you know, same with vinyl, is just in a much larger format, but having the physical art is always something I always really enjoyed about music as well. So
I'm really pleased that I ultimately went with, you know, creating the CDs, because like during quarantine, if you made a record, you know, you're not even going to have a chance to really get it to folks, unless you already have this like massive fan base that wants to pre-order. Like, so it's like, well, maybe it doesn't make sense to get CDs, but yeah, that physical aspect and the ability to showcase another aspect of the art, not just the sonic aspect, but to say, you know, maybe this imagery is going to help put you in the right mind state for certain songs, maybe. But to me, having photographs of the Mayan ancient site of Uxmal, having that as the photographic centerpiece is symbolic of the title Infinite Will. And, you know, these pyramids have been around for over 1,000 years, some of them. So, stone, infinity, like just trying to keep the concept of your will really has to be strong to get through the tough times that we've experienced. So it's like, I believe in myself to have that strong stone-like will. And so if I can believe in my ability to stay strong, then hopefully everyone else will get the message that you have the strength within yourself to get out of whatever hard situation you might be in.
Yeah, man. Did you sell quite a few at the release party?
Yeah, it was cool to get some off my hands right off the bat.
Yeah.
And, it's cool to have a tier structure with the ticketing. So it's like you have like, here's just the general admission ticket. Here's the ticket with the CD. And
well, you did more like a private party for this release, right?
Yeah, because I'd been wanting to do kind of a show in the style of So Far Sounds.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I got some really good ideas from running the sound for their shows for like 2-3 years.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't actually been able to attend one, but I've seen some videos and like it's very cool what they're doing and stuff.
It's all about creating that intimate experience, and they always talk about how the company was created because these guys are the founders of the company were at a show where it was at a bar, it was loud, and everyone was just yelling over the music. So what happens is that the key connection that we attempt as musicians sometimes doesn't have it straight from the start has no chance to connect with someone because they can't hear you.
Right.
So, and I've seen at these So Far events where it's they kind of have this secret vibe. You have to sign up for it. You don't know where the location is going to be or who's playing, and the amount of direct fan to singer relationships or like happenings that have occurred is so many that it's like this format works. Like I don't care who's doing the show. This is the kind of show that we need more of because everyone benefits from that greater attention to the music. And yeah, I wanted that to be a big part of it because I had this venue in mind. We did it at the Untitled Fine Art Gallery on Cherokee Street, which I've always been a huge fan of since they've been open. And there's a really cool patio area. And, with COVID still being a thing, it was the right move for me to keep it outside. And so everyone felt comfortable being there. So yeah, ended up just being like a limited capacity show that really I just sent invites to my own personal like friends and social media followers, and it ended up being a great time. It was the debut of a trio / quartet of the Obviously Offbeat name. So because for the album it was just me, but once I got a date set, I started calling some people, trying to figure out who might be in the band. And luckily enough, the two people that I reached out to first on drums and bass ended up sticking with me for like just only like 4 rehearsals in a month in June to get prepared for the release show. But Steve Larson is on drums, and he was super excited to get involved. He's played with Traveling Sound Machine and Vandalion, are a couple groups that more Missouri based that he's in. He just having him around and pushing the songs forward, pushing the whole dynamic of a band forward, and being excited, and that's been really fun to play with him. And then Justin DiCenzo is on bass, and he's someone that I've had like weird connections over the years. Like I think I initially saw him play when it was about 16 years ago. He was doing a jazz gig with a former guitar teacher of mine, Brian Vaccaro. And so Justin was this guy with this crazy hair, like getting all up on, past the what do they call it? Thumb position on the upright bass, where he just all the way up on the neck and like just manhandling the bass and doing a great solo. And then didn't see him for a long time. And then he slid through the dark room where I was working at the time. And, he was back in town from LA. He was doing a lot of work out there in the, film and TV show world and writing music for, jingles, that kind of stuff. But yeah, he actually did the sound for Arrested Development,
All right.
which is a really cool side note. And so I just got, I had met up with him during quarantine for some other reason, but we started to talk about music and started to get to know each other a little bit more. And so when his name was suggested by Ben Wheeler as like someone who might be interested, I was like, yeah. He was like pretty much right there in my consciousness anyway. And thankfully Justin was free to do the show. And after having done this one big show together, we're gonna talk more about where this is going, because it was never a part of my full-on life plan to have a band right now. Like I knew that at some point I wanted to have a second band to really, so I could turn up my amp and just solo loud sometimes. Yeah. And then of course be the lead vocalist and showcase some of my tunes that straight up don't fit the Illphonics sound, and some of which were even offered to change into an Illphonics song, but it just never worked out. So I just knew they were good enough to keep working on. So I'm really excited to see what Steve and Justin are going to help bring to the project as we move forward, because now it'll have more of that live band element that I was saying that I loved so much. That's why I think the next page of this project is going to be the most fun page of the whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
Like Steve and I have this big Radiohead connection. Like, cause I mean, I don't know. I mean, I know certain people don't like Radiohead, but really a lot of people do. Like, it's kind of hard to find someone who plays music in a band, especially like a rock or alternative band, that doesn't like them. So, but we're both pretty deep into loving Radiohead. So we even did a cover of Subterranean Homesick Alien during that show, and we'll probably keep doing that because it went really well.
Yeah, nice, man. Yeah, well, so keep an eye out. We don't have, it's not on the, is it on digital release yet, or is we just?
Oh yeah, it's everywhere.
Oh, it's everywhere now.
Infinite Will on all the sites.
Get it.
Bandcamp though.
Yeah.
That's where Bandcamp is the site for the artists.
Right.
If you really want to have that direct artist connection, and you want to make sure to support them, as opposed to going through like a subscription. We only get like a couple pennies for a bunch of streams through that. So just get into downloading. You can actually get lossless downloads on Bandcamp too. So
yeah, I thought that was really great. All the first Fridays they were doing and stuff,
absolutely
sharing profits, so where they all the money went right to the artist and stuff like that. So that was, they're definitely about the artist and supporting.
It's such a great, versatile and easy to use site.
Yeah,
you just send a link, you click, and it streams like really smoothly.
Yep.
I feel like, and it sounds really good. It's kind of like SoundCloud, except that SoundCloud I don't feel like sounds very good.
Yeah.
It's always very compressed, and people are probably uploading their terrible MP3s and stuff. Yeah. Whereas, again, Bandcamp has always offered that wave lossless quality option.
Yeah. When you can find Obviously Offbeat also for your Facebook and Instagram, so you can get plugged in for maybe some more of those shows popping up, hopefully, and things like that.
We shall be playing. Again, we're just about to take a step into a new horizon. So
I want to talk about a song we haven't mentioned yet, but this was the lead single that you released out there was a song called "Save My Love," which you have a music video for that was we first one we released out there for this, and man, this is such a great song. Like, it was a lot of fun, man.
Thank you.
And as you were saying, Justin's work in movies and TV music, jingles, and I don't know, for some reason the thought that came when I'm listening to this, like the thought that came to my mind was like a TV show intro, like that hook, the "Save My Love" part, like it just kind of had like a real good feel to it. It's catchy, you can quickly sing along with it, and it just kind of reminded me like the intro to some kind of sitcom kind of thing or something, kind of like that, like
totally.
I don't know.
I've gotten similar feedback, even on some songs on the first album. Like some of the more alternative sounding stuff could be in like teen movies or whatever.
Right.
But then there's another track that could be on like this like mystery in the desert kind of movie, so. I just feel like good music, if it really does emote in a way that people feel what you're trying to say, I feel like those kinds of songs are always good for movies, because there is a clear feeling, and movies need that song that kind of give you that clear feeling of whatever the mood is supposed to be. And yeah, I mean, I think now that I've turned the page on putting out my second album, as I create a third album, I'm also
shout out to the fine city of St. Louis Fire Department.
Fire Department, definitely. Yeah, they're doing great work.
Yep.
Sure where you belong, and for that I can't blame you. But what you mean to me is more than I could imagine. So come back and give it a chance. I think that we could be magic. Don't you know I'm gonna save all my love, all my love. Don't you know I'm gonna save all my love, all my love. I've seen what the other girls have to offer. There's nothing they can do that you don't do better. It's hard for me to prove. Tell me, what do I have to do? If there's one thing that I know I can do, it is save my love for you. Don't you know I'm gonna save all my love, all my love. Don't you know I'm gonna save all my love, all my love. Don't you know I'm gonna save all my love for you, dear. Don't you know I'm gonna save all my love, all my love. are so pointless without you. But even though you're gone, it feels like you never left me. I hope this won't last long. Our love could be never ending. You turned my life around with a love that was so profound. If there's one thing that I know I can do, it is save my love for you. So come back to me. Please come back to me. Don't you know I'm gonna save all my love, all my love. Don't you know I'm gonna save all my love, all my love. Don't you know I'm gonna save all my love for you, dear. Don't you know I'm gonna save all my love, all of my love.
I wanted to create a song that really leaned into the catchiness, like because if you know some of my influences, they can be pretty obscure, and I don't always lean in a pop direction. But this album, there are quite a few catchy songs, and I just wanted to get all those out on this one and have no apology for what it is. I know that I'm capable of a lot more moving forward. Influences that I've never fully incorporated that I plan to. For example, jazz and Latin and electronic. Like, these are all genres I'm heavily interested in, but I'm never put anything out with those elements under the Obviously Offbeat name. But again, this is kind of like a punctuation mark. Like, here's everything up to this point. Here's all the best, like, catchiest songs that I've had. All on one disc, and then while I figure out what my next move is, I think I'm going to be creating a lot of music ready for film and TV and stuff, and not have it be specifically an Obviously Offbeat song, though there will be some crossover, between those two worlds, where one, it's like, oh, well, I'm working on this meditative, this thing with strings and piano for a movie, but actually there's this vocal melody that's kind of calling out to be a actual song. So I might maybe do two versions of the same music, and since I wrote it, I can own all the copyrights of both versions. And yeah, I've always been really interested in the different avenues that songwriters can take to work smarter, not harder and stuff. And like, why not just, if you're in the studio, record a slightly altered version of the exact same song.
Right.
Or like just, change the lead vocal melody only, and then record that version that could be, the version that's in the teen show, as opposed to the one that you want on your album. And they can be two different sets of lyrics. And,
right.
I just think that there's a lot more newer ways of doing things that folks in St. Louis haven't really explored yet. I think St. Louis needs a better sense of like knowing about what they need to do as an artist in like the administrative sense too. That's something I would like to, any artists that I work with, on the recording side, I'm also happy to give all kinds of tips about stuff that I've learned in the past. And, because not only did I record and play it all, like I did all the admin work for this album release and getting the CDs pressed, and just it's a lot of work, but it means that I guess I have a lot of different perspective on different aspects of the music creation process, and even album cycles and touring. And Ilphonics is gonna, both Ilphonics and obviously Offbeat, you know, are planning to have some shows in Europe next year. So we're like kind of right now planting some seeds to make all that happen, and you know, all hoping that you know, we can actually get this virus under control, and that we can actually do that, because you know, musicians in St. Louis, especially as more and more venues open up in Chesterfield, start to have less and less of a connection with actual St. Louisans, I feel like. And it's just, there's a lot that needs to change to make that happen. But really, St. Louis musicians do need to tour. They do need to get out to other cities. And like, it's expensive to get to Europe, but you know, I've missed Europe ever since the day I left. And I'm just trying to, you know, kill two birds with one stone, visit again, and also play and set up more shows, and then visit again, and then still use St. Louis as a home base, you know, but we got to reach out more and not just be so internalized about what we are doing, like, or, you know, even individually, like a lot of artists can be way too up in their heads, you know, so it's just, we got to get out more. And, you know, that's been tough, but there's ways to do it via internet too. So yeah.
I mean, that'd be incredible to get out there and see the world and having your music take you there too. So like, that would be super cool.
It's basically the one life goal that like is on the list that needs to be checked off.
Yeah.
And so we'll do that as early as next year, maybe. If things like went great on all counts, like I could see something happening towards the end of this year, possibly. But we'll just see.
Right. Yeah, man. Well, Kevin, this has been really great, man. I'm really glad we were able to link up and catch up about this new record. Again, you can find it wherever you're getting your music. Please check out the Bandcamp. That way, it's you know, if you want to download it, you can do so there. And
another thing about Bandcamp is you can get merch really easily off of that, and so that, again, you're supporting directly. That money comes straight to us, so you can get a physical copy of Infinite Will from Bandcamp as well. So I'll ship it right to you.
Nice, man. Yeah, and but keep an eye out. New music video for If You Don't Need Me. August 7th, we're saying.
Yeah.
So,
well, if you don't need me, ...
Right.
Check it out thereabouts around August 7th, and you'll find out what the next part of that phrase is. Yeah. Although we kind of already gave it away.
Right. But yeah, I don't think I didn't quite mention it in Save My Love, but I really did appreciate you. All your different outfits, your four different players in the band.
Thank you.
It was fun to see you getting to have fun, kind of being a character, and or being four of them, and you know, it's like, so. It
was just trying to think of an idea that was smarter and not harder, and you know, these kind of like Brady Bunch style videos were getting put out during quarantine, and a lot of people did variations on it, and this was my variation on it. So I was really pleased that, I mean, it's been a terrible tragedy, but it was just another kind of silver lining to just like, there's this new format of connecting, or this new format of video production that seemed to fit perfectly with what I was doing on the album. And again, we're in Missouri, we're the Show Me State. I had to show folks how it looks, you know, when I play all the instruments. And
right.
So yeah, it was really fun. And you know, over the years, I've been able to have all kinds of different stage presences, and you know, you have everything from the crazy glam guy to the stone-faced cowboy, you know.
Yeah.
And everything in between. It's
sure.
Everything that I do, I hope just completely repels the idea of division and of different genres. Like, so I'm kind of just poking fun at the fact that, you know, there's glam rock, there's punk rock, there's country, there's all these different forms of music, but all of those things are what turned me into who I am. And we're at the point in culture and evolution that, like, we all listen to different styles of music.
Right.
Why are we still putting everything in a box? I mean, I guess.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I don't even really. So I do put like stuff when I post the show. I typically put like a genre just because that's what a lot of people are known to be searching for, looking for certain things.
Sure. Well, I guess just for searching and like, because everybody is going to find a new thing that they like maybe every 6 months or every year. So like, same thing with me in my musical journey. It's like, well, I'm really into, just pick a style.
Yeah.
Yes, and King Crimson, and then I'm listening to like John Fahey, and then I'm listening to like Lupe Fiasco, like but yeah,
I like it all, man. And that, but I'm with you.
and that's
we don't need to box everything in. Just
and I really appreciate you doing this with so many different artists at different styles. That's everyone needs that voice, and for certain gatekeepers around. It's really been frustrating over the years, like to see, just for example, how Ilphonics just didn't get a fair look. Maybe just because we had a rapper. It's like, oh, can't have rap.
I would probably say that's probably a lot of it too. Like, not necessarily that there's a rap, but you guys don't fit in a particular, you have elements of hip hop and you have elements of rock and you have, so it's like, it's hard to really say what is Ilphonics. It's just good music, and it doesn't necessarily, like, maybe putting you guys with a hip hop show would be difficult because you're not necessarily all 100% hip hop, kind of thing. So it's
just straight up been tough.
Right.
Everything from labels down to just the booking of a single night of entertainment. It's never easy.
Sure.
And
but
that's maybe for the next show with Ilphonics.
Hopefully we'll get that one worked out here soon. But I appreciate you doing this, man. This has been like I said, a lot of fun hanging out here at your home studio and getting to see where
good to have you.
Getting to see where all the magic happens, where all this record came to life and everything. But man, this has been super cool. So thank you, Kevin, and I will see you soon, my friend.
Cool. Thank you, Shane. Peace.
Right. Bye, everybody.
Rock Paper Podcast. Rock Paper Podcast. Rock Paper Podcast. Rock Paper Podcast.
Well, yeah, that was it.